The Rick and Shauna Show, baby. Oh yeah. Smart moves, smart doors. That's the way to go. For every rental dream, they help the numbers flow. Before you buy, after you close, they help you know. Welcome to the Rick and Shauna Show.
Welcome back to the Rick and Shauna Show, Property Management Unfiltered. Today we are going to cover a topic that was actually a question,
Right.
From our last podcast, and
Which would be episode 6.
episode 6.
So
yep. So
it's a continuation.
this is an important one, and there's a fair amount of information in this one, and it basically is how the condition impacts the tenants that you're going to get.
Yeah, like the quality of tenant.
Yep, the quality of tenant.
Yep.
Okay. So it's an important one, and we've talked about this for years. And there are many things that go into this.
Right. Yeah. I promise we're not trying to spend all of your money. But when we get the request from a property owner where a property is almost done and, they're working on it and they ask us to throw it on the market, that is not the best practice. That's not the best use of our time. It's not the best use of our leasing agent's time. It actually, when a property is not complete or it is still maybe dirty, hasn't been cleaned yet, there's still some damaged things that haven't been fixed yet, and then we start showing it to tenants, it's usually not good. So that's what we mean by condition versus tenant quality.
Yeah. So ultimately, they're going. If it's not that we haven't done this, this has been requested before, but it usually we don't get a good result from it.
Right.
We're kind of setting the precedent that, it's kind of hard to unsee a property. You come in, you look at the property, you're like, man, it doesn't look that great. It's not quite finished yet. Or it could even be that somebody has put their notice in to move out. And the owner says, hey, can we start showing the property with a tenant in there? It's not that it couldn't possibly work, but things would have to line up so well. And what I mean by that is that in order for that to really work, the property has to be in great condition.
Right. So we obviously do that inspection first when somebody asks us that, because we get that a lot, and we understand where they're going with it.
And it's not that it couldn't work.
Right.
It possibly could if the property was in great condition, the tenant was in there, was taking immaculate condition to it. Then people can come in there and they can say, wow, okay, I can see what this property could look like. There could be an actual benefit to it.
Right.
But traditionally,
it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out because it usually doesn't look that way. And like I was saying, you can't really unsee the stuff. People, when they see something in the property that maybe wasn't being taken care of, or the tenant wasn't maybe doing some of the right things in the property, it's in the back of their mind.
It is.
And it makes it tough.
Right. Well, and when you're working on a property and you allow prospective tenants to come through, you might not, like you said, have gotten to something. So they're seeing the stains on the carpet. They're seeing the walls that are damaged or not painted yet, or they're seeing it to where the property is just not clean. A couple of different things could happen. You definitely get the type of tenant that that type of condition calls for, right? Or after a while, if you think that you got somebody interested because they have come through, now you're rushing the repairs. Now we probably have run into a whole another set of issues, right? Because now we're rushing repairs. We're not doing what we initially were going to do so that we don't lose this tenant. And they're on a quick timeline because they've already been looking and they want to do it. And, we've qualified them, of course. But their timeline is shorter than what it would normally take us for repairs. And now we're rushing it. And now they're moving into a property that has issues after they move in.
Right. And they're trying to make that decision.
Right.
Like, hey, do I want to live in this property?
Right.
Do I want to live in this property? Do I want to be where this property sits? And we always want to put that property in the best possible light we can.
For sure.
And that's the biggest thing, is that we already know that, hey, a tenant is going to be critical about certain things in the property. Mm-hmm. We don't want to give them any reason to say, oh, well, it looks like it's not being maintained, doesn't look great. Especially with the qualified tenants. We only get so many qualified tenants that come through these properties. Everybody's not qualified. So the ones that when you get people that come that actually are qualified, you don't want to give them any reason.
Right. And we said on our last episode that, if you move people in with a property that has a ton of issues, it doesn't really make for a good tenant relationship. And then they're wanting to move out. They want their deposit back. Like, we run into it, right? So when a property looks good, a property is done, and it's been done right, that's when we show it. And again, I understand what they're trying to do, but it always backfires.
It does.
And when we're showing, if we do say, okay, we'll start showing a property that a tenant lives in already, it's not always that it's damaged or dirty. It's sometimes because they're just moving. They don't want people in and out. Let's respect the people that live there. They have 30 days to move. I understand, but they have boxes everywhere. Sometimes it's not good in a good enough light even to look at. You can't see everything you want to see. So what happens? They want to come back anyways.
Right.
And in the meantime, they're still looking around.
They're still looking around. So now you're talking about your competition again. Because
yeah.
someone now has looked at your property and says, okay, well, I don't really know how this is going to turn out. And that's really kind of like the challenge. They don't know, a tenant doesn't know what that property is going to look like when it's actually ready. They're seeing it in condition that it's not ready.
Right.
And so it's tough for them to make a decision. Like, okay, so I'm going to put an application fee. I really don't know what this is going to look like. But when they come in and that property is clean, it looks the way it's supposed to look when it's going to be rented, they can make a educated decision.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what? It's, hey, look, $40 for somebody to put an application in, it's a lot of money for people to...
Well, they want to be sure.
They want to be sure. They don't want to just put it in to say, well, I hope it looks okay. Hope it looks good.
Yeah, because again, what does that do? That leads to problems when they move in. Oh, I don't like this. And then we, as a property management company, start to get all those complaints. And then it's very hard to make a tenant happy once they've moved in and seen a halfway repaired property that they had different expectations for, and now they don't want to live there anymore.
And that's the key word, expectations,
Yes.
because they don't know what to expect.
That's right.
They really don't. They don't know what that property is going to look like. And, the thing that we always go back to, and we've been harping on it for years, is like the cleanliness of the property. And, many times the first thing they do, they go into the kitchen, they pull the drawers open. All these things. So that's why it's so important to, even if it's vacant and you've got it close.
Yeah.
You've got it close, but it's not quite there. It's better just to wait.
Yeah, because cleaning is the final step.
It's the final step.
So if you haven't had that final step and it's not released and ready to go, really there is no point, because clean is the ultimate.
Right.
That we hear from everybody.
Right. And once they see it, like I said, when they pull a drawer open and they see it's dirty, or they see a couple mouse droppings or whatever it is, and that could, it doesn't mean that there's necessarily an issue at the property. It means the last person in there was not keeping the property really clean, because I don't care what kind of a property is. Mice, if there's a food source, they figure out a way to get in. If there's no food source and people are keeping the property and really cleaned up, those kind of issues don't generally happen.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things just in the back of their mind when they see it. They're like, okay, there's already a pre-existing problem.
Right. Another thing I think is when they are looking at it, when it's not completely done, then when you're determining a price, they're looking at it, again, halfway repaired, not cleaned. They think it should be one price when we're asking for another one. So now their expectations are super high, and they're thinking in their mind, this place is going to be completely redone, because no matter what we tell them, this is what they hear. It goes through the filter, right, of what they expect versus what we are, the picture we're trying to paint for them. Right. So it eliminates so much indifferences between a tenant and us when we can just wait till we have a finished product.
Yep.
And it's just so important.
Right. And that price, so we talked about this in the last episode, of setting that price.
Yeah. Yep.
So that is a big challenge, because we want to get, market rent for the property, but it's difficult for somebody to see that. They look at that property and they go, well, I know what market rent is. I see what everything else is out there. This doesn't, I can't put the two together.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't look like it should be at that mark.
It just
because
doesn't add up for them.
It doesn't add up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so we want to get the most we can, and that's going to be when the property is in the best condition that it can possibly be in, and that should be when it's ready to rent.
That's right. That's right. So we're not cutting corners. We're not getting tenants that don't qualify. You know, we're putting out the best product possible, but also, you know, because we're not rushing repairs, but also from a property owner standpoint, when you do those halfway repairs, that costs you down the line.
Yes, it does.
You know, it's not, I mean, deferred maintenance, honestly, that can be one of your biggest expenses.
Yep.
You know, if you're not doing things right up front, and yes, it's going to cost a little bit more sometimes, but if you do it right the first time, usually you don't have to do it down the line.
Yep, and it's coming anyway.
It is coming.
It's coming
Yep.
anyway. You're going to have to do it, and you know, you might as well just get it over and do it the right way.
Yeah.
And get it off your plate. And I get it. Hey, look, it is about dollars and cents.
Yep.
It's about money, and I totally understand it. But you know, it's going to resolve. There's going to be bigger problems because of it. You know, especially we've seen it happen, man, where somebody cuts corners on a property, a tenant gets in the property, and it's just literally, it's call after call. And then you start to equate, not only am I paying the expense of actually getting it done,
Yeah.
I'm also paying us now multiple times to go out to the property to fix these things that should have been done up front.
Right.
So that's one of the things when it comes to when you turn a property, right? Is that, hey, we know that it's not going to look perfect. They're
Right.
rentals. We understand that they're
Yeah.
rentals.
Yeah.
But you want to put them in the best light possible.
That's right. That's right.
Because it could come back. And if there's things that are going to create challenges for a tenant out there, they're going to have to be done anyway.
Right. I mean, and ultimately, I think that, you know, if you're presenting a product that is halfway done or, you know, still has cleaning to do or is not completely finished, now you're putting out to people that, hey, it doesn't matter to me. So you're getting a tenant that says, hey, it doesn't matter to me either.
Yeah, true.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if
No,
I'm
it's
moving
totally-
into a property that's halfway done, well, I'm going to take care of it
Right.
the way I got it.
Right. So, and that, you know, that's another good point because it does set the precedent.
It does.
You know, when properties look great, they move in. First of all, tenants are excited.
Yes.
I mean, it's
a new
They
place.
got a new
Yeah,
place. It looks great,
absolutely.
and you know what?
It's
They're
awesome.
proud of it, and they can't wait to show their friends.
Yeah.
Like, hey, come on over.
Have
look at this
people
new
over.
place. It's
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Yep.
You know, and that's who you want
Yes.
because the tendency is they're going to take better care of their property. But to your point, you know, if it doesn't look great out of the gate, they're like, well, what's the point? It's just a place for me to stay. It's just to get me by, and I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, no, we've run into a lot of situations like that over the years. You know, we've been doing this for a really long time, and that has happened way more than I can count. You know,
Yep.
and they
And
end up.
truly, the people that you want to be in that property, the qualified tenants, that's going to be a deterrent.
Yeah, those are not the ones
Right.
applying.
They're not going to be the ones applying. And even though somebody else might be qualified as well, it's that precedent is like, I'm not going to worry about this.
It's not there, right?
You know, so for the people that you really want to be in there, they're going to be the ones that they're not going to accept it.
Right, right.
They're going to say this isn't for me,
Yeah,
and that's who you want.
that's right. Ultimately, that's who you want. So we just wanted to cover that question, and that is a continuation from the last episode. Again, if you have any other questions that didn't get answered, please put them below. And then I think that's it.
I think that's where we can wrap it up. Don't
Yeah.
forget to, stay tuned and
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. That helps the channel out.
Yeah.
And we will see you on the next episode.
Have a great day.